Welcome to the fireside chat session. Today I have, you prefer me to call you Leonard or Lenny?
Yeah,
Leonard, right? Maybe I'll get Leonard to introduce a bit about himself.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, Dr. Lau. So my name is Leonard. I'm currently a analytics professional working in London. So I'm a Malaysian. I've been working in London for a few years now. Most recently, I was at a company called Wise, previously known as TransferWise. And at Wise, I was leading a small team, which was looking after regional expansion. And after this, I'll be joining Amazon, working as also in analytics there.
Leonard, so can you maybe share a little bit with us your career progressions? I remember when I first met you in our data science class, you were not really from analytics or technical analysis background, right? And then how do you progress from a business guy to now really, would you consider yourself like really hardcore analytics guys, or I would say that you really use analytics to make a lot of business decisions in a way, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, to give some background of my progression into analytics, like I first started work as a consultant, and after that I was working in finance in a family office. But I would say throughout my career, my job has always involved a lot of analysis. And also like presentations, like stakeholder management, but this was in different forms, right? So when I was working in like consulting or in finance, the analysis was mostly in the form of using Excel, right? It's only after I started working in a tech company that's where the analytics is quite different. But I think at the end of the day, if I were to take a step back, the skills that you use is still quite similar, because at the end of the day you are using analysis, but it could be the case that the tools are different, right? In a tech company, you use a lot of different tools because the amount of data you have is a lot bigger. So for example, Excel will start breaking, cannot go past 1 million lines, right? But 1 million lines in a tech company is like nothing. So end of the day, the skills are still quite similar, but just a case of learning up new tools. And how to analyze the data using the new tools.
But what really actually inspired you to make such a transition? Like, is that a aha moment or oh shit moment? Like, I cannot take this anymore. I really have to learn analytics, because at one stage of your career, you are actually quite focused on the product, right? Yeah, you're more towards the product management or product owner, that sort of role. So what is that moment that triggers that transition?
So I would say in the tech companies that I work for, it's definitely more product focused. But before this, when I was working, for example, in a family office, we also do some sort of analytics there, but it's more on like operations. So for example, I was looking at how the company is performing. There's a lot of reporting, but I would say in a more traditional company, especially in a region like Malaysia, the types of analysis that you do, or this, especially in an older company, is very basic. A lot of times it's just you're presenting something of what it is. You don't really do one step beyond or try to figure out how you can solve problems using those kind of data. So it's more of a reporting in that sense, like maybe building a dashboard or something like that. In my case, I felt this was very traditional. It's not very mentally stimulating. So I decided to join a fintech company in Malaysia. And actually, in order to join that, I decided to take some sort of a data science courses, and that's where I actually got to know Dr. Lau. So this was very helpful because, and I also want to thank the company, because they took a chance on me. They felt okay, maybe you didn't have this kind of technical knowledge yet, but technical knowledge at the end of the day is something that you can easily pick up and learn. What is more important is your way of approaching a problem and those kind of things. So the company gave me a chance, and this was still early days. In those times, maybe there was not that many data analysts or data science practitioners in Malaysia yet. So they were essentially looking at people with consulting background and those kind of things to hire, and then teach them the tech skills. So I was fortunate enough to do that, and I was and then that was since 2018, and I joined a tech company called Funding Societies.
But that's what I always tell you guys, right? It's easier to train someone with domain knowledge, business know-how, to equip them with data science skills rather than take a data scientist and then teach them some domain knowledge and put them into the totally new business. Now, on that, right, you mentioned a couple of times like your early days, early part of your careers. Now, how has your approach or how does the way that you see data analytics evolve from then until now, and especially the subsequent questions that I'm going to ask you definitely has to something to do with AI. And is that something like your job has become significantly easier, or in what sense that your skills and the way that you see things has evolved so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think in my early days, when I first started a job as an analyst, you often get a lot of requests from a lot of people, all the different departments that you work for, especially when a company is still younger. Because analytics resources are always going to be very scarce, right?
Yeah.
So there's not enough analysts, but everyone wants like some data requests. So every day you get bombarded like, hey, can you pull this data for me? Put that data for me. And I guess when you're new, you maybe don't know how to push away this
How
kind
to
of
say
requests.
no.
I don't know how to say no. So I guess when I was in my earlier days, I was often trying to please everyone. So you end up doing a lot of like data requests. And oftentimes it's not necessarily the best use of your time or even the best use of the company time. So as I gotten more mature and more senior in my roles, I started to realize like the importance of like trying to push away requests and importance of saying no. And also the importance of like using data to actually maximize impact. And what I mean by this is like, for example, at Wise, one of our most important role of the analyst is not actually like a help desk, not really all these requests or whatsoever. But at the end of the day, the most important role of the analyst is actually to help the team to make the right decision. And how we go about this is, for example, at Wise, we have quite well-defined North Star metrics. So metrics that the company cares about, And in all companies, there's always going to be limited resources, right? Whether it's limited analysts, limited engineering capacity. So you can't always pursue all the available opportunities. So the important role of the analyst is essentially to work together with the team to figure out, okay, these are all the potential opportunities that we can do, but what are the opportunity sizes? Let's say if you pursue this opportunity A, it's like, I don't know, worth 100 million. The second one is worth 50. Third one is worth 60 or something like that. Then you need to, the analyst role is to calculate like how big is this opportunity, and then what are the constraints, And then once we have all these opportunity calculated, then you are able to rank them and say, okay, this is the number one opportunity and this is why, And from there, then you tell the team, this is why we should pursue this opportunity. So that's actually the more important role as you get more senior, is to help the team and by extension the company make the right decisions.
Now you mentioned a couple of different things that you do. I'm sure that involve some sort of technologies, like for example SQL, and then you learn a bit of Python at the boot camps, right? But if you can name one of the technologies that you think that have changed your workflow or changed your career life a lot, which one would that be?
I think as an analyst, the most important skill, most basic skill as a data analyst is definitely SQL, because you use that to pull data, right? Even if you use Python, for example, you oftentimes still need to pull data from a server and then use Python to further,
So you still write SQL inside Python
correct,
to execute them, to pull the data,
yes,
the process,
correct.
right?
Yeah, you still need the data then you can do all kinds of manipulation using Python or whatsoever. But yeah, SQL is probably the most important skill that you can learn as an analyst.
But from there, definitely the technologies has evolved and you grow professionally as well, right? Now, how do you approach learning new technologies and with all those things that are happening, and how do you stay current and stay relevant to trying to balance the technical side and also your business side at the same time?
Yeah, so I've joined a few companies in my career so far, and every tech company will use slightly different tools or different tech stacks. But I think this is something you alluded to earlier as well. End of the day, learning this kind of tools is nothing hard. A lot of times you can go online, go to YouTube or Coursera or one of these places to take like a simple course, or you just learn on the job, right? Because end of the day, it's just the tools are just another way of reaching the goals, which is to and end of the day, your role is to solve problems. Doesn't matter the tools you can easily pick it up. So it's more of a case of you being willing to learn and being open to learning new things.
But then hearing from you definitely is very inspiring, because a lot of people who are in the position, right, when they first start to get in touch with data science or whatever technical things, they look at Python, it's all alien language, and then they feel like, oh, this is so intimidating and such alien to them, and they will feel like, would I be able to do it or what? But after hearing it from you, I think they will know that, okay, it's just a tool, right? You pick up the tools, you learn how to use it to solve the problem. Now, on that topic, right, can you maybe share one meaningful project or the most memorable project, not just in your career, not related to, not specifically to any companies or anything like that you remember?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there are definitely things I can talk about, or definitely on maybe not talk about, but I would say a very interesting project that I did earlier on in my career at Funding Societies, for example, which was very data driven. So, for example, earlier, I think it's so in Malaysia we had a lot of we have a lot of e-commerce companies, right? A lot of people, and a lot of these platforms, they try to make it easy for you to sell. Especially earlier in the early days of the e-commerce boom in Malaysia, a lot of platforms, they allow people to just like sign up as a user and start selling. So we have a lot of companies a lot of people who are trying to sell things online, and as their business grow, when business expand, they often need financing, right? So in Malaysia, for people to obtain financing from a financial institution is not necessarily the easiest thing. For example, if you go to the bank and let's say you're an e-commerce seller, right? You say, hey, I started selling things online on like Shopee or Lazada. I've been selling for 1 year. Even if you are very very big online, started selling for 1 year. You have 1 million ringgit in sales. The bank will not accept you because a lot of banks are very traditional. They'll ask you for like, oh, I need 2 years of audited financial statement. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. So if you're selling things online, you might not necessarily have that. So what I did when I was working at Funding Societies was we started partnering with some of these e-commerce companies, and we started using their transactional data as a way to be able to assess risks and assess their cash flow. So we get the data directly from the e-commerce company through APIs. And from there, we are able to see, every month this seller sells about 50,000 ringgit. We have like 6 months of track record of them growing sales. And we're able to use that as a basis to underwrite the loans, the financing that we are able to offer the companies. So this was a project that I was very excited, and also I was very heavily involved in my time in Funding Societies. And in Malaysia, we were the first one to launch this project. We partnered with Lazada. It was quite a revolutionary project when we first launched it because no banks was doing that, no other financing companies were doing that. And we launched it to the market. And this project was also very successful, and it was copied to other funding societies in multiple countries as well. We use that as a platform as well, as a template to launch this in other countries that funding societies were in as well, with the same partners and other partners as well. So that was the way of us looking at the data and figuring out how can we use data to be able to do something different, and yeah, that was quite an interesting and successful project.
So definitely the models that you guys were looking at is totally different from the banks, the way that banks are looking at it. And I think from a business decision and regulation point of view, banks have no vested interest to make that sort of change in a way, right? Now back to the theme of this conference is that we talk about a lot on things on the tools, and then on things like how it helps you to the technology stacks has helped you in your career. Now we're moving probably 1 to 2 years moving into generative AI. How do you foresee, or have you already used some of the AI tools in your workflow, in your daily work, that make you more productive?
Yeah, definitely. So the AI wave is real, tools like ChatGPT and everything are super efficient in writing code, in generating codes for you, and execution. So I guess at a larger company, for example, at Wise, when these kind of tools first came out, there was a lot of fear or uncertainty on the privacy aspects. There was always news about, there's a data leakage and things like that. So initially, we weren't as a company, we were not allowed to use these kind of tools. But that was quickly solved by companies like OpenAI. They solved that quite quickly. There was a privacy layer and things like that. So and so at Wise we already have like a corporate account for like OpenAI for ChatGPT. So people do use it on a daily basis, and essentially it's kind of like it's still a tool at the end of the day. It's just a super efficient tool. It can help you to write Python codes, can help you to write all kinds of codes,
SQL.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the principle is still the same. At the end of the day, you still need to know what you want to do, what the problem you're trying to solve. It's kind of like getting like a super good intern to do the execution for you, but you still need to give it direction, right? That's where the prompt engineering comes in. You still need to approach a problem in a very methodical manner. It's still a lot about structured thinking. So you need to know like, okay, first step, do this, and then you prompt the ChatGPT to do this. Then it does it in like 2 seconds, right? Rather, in the past it might take you half a day to code that out, but now ChatGPT can make that much more efficient. But at the end of the day, you still need to know what you're actually trying to solve.
So I think prompting is, in my way of saying it, is like knowing how to ask questions. But you take it to the next level is how do you break down a big task to a smaller task that you can pass it to the AI to execute, and then you can evaluate the results to decide whether you want to go to step 2 or step 3 or not. A lot of our students actually, they use it as a way, like for example, they work with seniors, and then the senior pass them a chunk of SQL script. They don't understand, and senior won't answer you, right? So they put their script into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to explain what the script does. Do you use that in your at work?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that's one great thing that a tool like ChatGPT can do as well. Is they are able to explain things. So, for example, I am not the best Python coder. My Python is okay, but oftentimes, sometimes when I ask ChatGPT to do something, sometimes I might not understand the whole Python script as well. So, oftentimes I will ask ChatGPT to write down some explanations. And that's something is very good in explaining, because at the end of the day, it's a very logical machine, right?
Reasoning machine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can easily ask it to explain, and this is one of those tools that I wish we had it many years ago, because if you use it as a tool to learn, it can easily teach you how step by step why it's doing that.
Yeah. Then in that case, right, how do you see AI is shaping the product management or the product development in the next 3 to 5 years, and or maybe in the broader scope, is how is it going to change the data analytics landscape, especially for your job?
Yeah, so that's a very existential question sometimes, right? Sometimes I wonder, okay.
I got asked those questions many times, so this is a few times that I get to ask other people.
Exactly. Sometimes you look at AI and ChatGPT, you wonder like, will I have a job in a few years? Right? Yeah. We don't know, right? But I guess maybe at this stage, AI is still, and ChatGPT, tools like ChatGPT, is still just a tool. End of the day, it will do things much more efficient, but you still need people to be able to figure out what are the problems to solve, and how do you prioritize what problems to solve, and also to communicate with your stakeholders, because AI still cannot work with humans. Humans are very temperamental, emotional and this and that. So everyone has their own opinion. So even though you show people very logical ideas or solutions, people might still not accept it, right? And sometimes you don't know why. Right? Sometimes they make illogical decisions.
Just like talking to your girlfriends, right? When they are emotional, there's no point presenting them with more logical facts.
Exactly. Facts doesn't matter sometimes, But AI is definitely here and will definitely make our life more efficient. But I think one interesting thing now with the boom of AI, if anything, one good thing I would say is also that it actually starts to highlight the importance of good data, because when you something like ChatGPT will only produce out whatever data you throw inside. But if you have very bad data, it just become garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah.
right? So with the growth of AI and this kind of ChatGPT stuff, now there's actually a lot of emphasis on data engineering and like data governance, this kind of thing. So it's actually a very good thing. These days, a lot of companies are actually hiring a lot more data engineers, analytical engineers. So if anything, once the data model becomes better, it makes the life of the analyst a lot easier as well. So yeah, I think all these are actually good points.
Okay, I have a confession to make, right? I mean, you were my students. You know that when teaching students, I'm pretty patient, lah. Okay, you may disagree, but when I mentor my let's say my own employees and my own staff, the juniors, I sometimes get impatient, especially if they ask the same question multiple times. I think these are the things that AI can help, because sometimes people just take more than one iterations to get through a problem, so multiple iterations in a way. But you say that you have become senior now, right? And then in your career you definitely have to lead some of the junior analysts, junior guys, and work with them, and you need to mentor them. So how do you think that this AI movement, or in particular generative AI, will help you in that sense?
Yeah, definitely. So I think things like AI again is very good at explaining things. So sometimes if it's a more like logical step explanation, the good thing is you can ask AI, explain this to me, then AI can do it for you. But again, that's where there are some limitations, right? So sometimes AI might not be able to do things like mentoring or like leadership stuff. So AI, once again, it's just a tool at the end of the day. So for you as a senior person mentoring people, sometimes there are multiple ways to get people to a destination, right? Whether it's through using AI tools, or sometimes one thing, for example, which is probably more common in Western countries, is they like you to, they do a lot of what they call mentoring, which is quite different from in Asia. So for example, in Asia, a lot of times it's more old school. The manager will just tell you, do this. Don't question why, this and that. But a lot of times in Western countries, or in like more established companies, they don't exactly tell you what to do. They try to, give you hints, and they try to make you to think of how to reach that conclusion. So it's kind of like they teach you how to fish, right? It's, instead of like giving you fish, they want you to be able to think through the problem and arrive at that conclusion. So I think these kind of tools maybe AI cannot replace yet. But again, I know the AI is still very, very important too. It's can automate a lot of the the more logical parts for the mentors and all.
Now, when we are talking about it's getting easier, a lot easier to build things, build products nowadays, do you think that the ability to build something is become even more important nowadays? Or do you think that it's still the same as the past? To be able to productize something?
Oh, definitely it's a lot easier, right? These
Yeah.
days, like there are AI companies with 3 people, and basically if you're an engineer and you're very, very good in AI, or like coding up this AI, you can even build like what they call like AI agents
Yep.
to build things for you.
The minions.
Yeah, exactly. So these days, it's makes it a lot easier to build things in production, and the iteration cycle is a lot faster. But again, it still goes back to you need to know what you actually want to build, right? You can't just tell AI, build me the best product in the world. It won't just magically create something for you. You still need to prompt it to do what you want it to do.
Now, before we end this fireside chat session, so maybe one last question is that what, reflecting on your career path and then your whole journey, right? It seems very exciting, and you get to work in different companies, like from startup companies, and then to fintech, and then now you are going to Amazon. So which is very exciting, and I think in a way, if you were to start today, right? Let's say, what would be the advice would you give somebody who is starting today and they would like to follow your path, as in they like tech, okay? They don't mind being in tech because they know that technology can be used to solve new problems, right? Give us new perspective to solve old problems even, right? But what are some of the advice that you would give them, and also like what would you suggest them to do if they were to start today?
Yeah, so I think it's never too late to start. You know, I myself transitioned to tech after working in like corporate for, you know, about 6-7 years. So it's never too late to start. And again, probably and now probably starting is even easier with tools like ChatGPT and all the resources available online. In the past, you know, you might not be able to get a lot of these resources online for free even. But yeah, these days, you know, with the internet, everything is available. So it really comes down to you needing the wanting to do it, and you being motivated to do it. And also at the end of the day, you know, all of us are still learning. You know, we need to constantly be curious and constantly be willing to learn new things and unlearn maybe bad habits or things like that, you know.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leonard Lim, and stay tuned for the next session. All right, thank you, Leonard.